I don't even really identify as an atheist, but because I don't want to identify as anything that they give me. I'm a Gaianist. I practice Gaianism. But if I have to, I guess I'll call myself an atheist. You know, the thing is, what's it called when you reject all of it? Like, I'm an atheist when it comes to history as well. It's a strange feeling, I'll tell you that. You know, when you get to the point where you just don't buy any of it. You know, I was watching this video before I went live, debunking all the Zionist. It was a video about the Jewish claim to Palestine and the land and all that. The whole, I was just thinking about debunking it. And yet, it's always interesting to me how even those with the best intentions allow arrogance to dominate. You're quoting this guy. Well, this guy says this. Well, I'm sure you could find another guy, morning Karen, who will say the opposite. So what makes you think that this guy saying it is the truth? That's when arrogance comes into play. And arrogance is the big, it's the big bad. Arrogance is the final boss in all of this. But until you can override your arrogance, it doesn't matter. Like, it's weird to think that you're an arrogant slave, that you're arrogant while being ignorant and insecure. Those things aren't supposed to go together, but they absolutely do. And I just don't know how to override that arrogance in so many people. I mean, everything that has to do with Judaism is totally arrogant, right? It's insane how arrogant these inferior people are. But I guess if they tell us that they're so much better than us, eventually we're supposed to be like, I guess they're just better than us, huh? And the reality is, the arrogance always comes into play when you're having the religious conversation. The smack head, S-M-A-K. You couldn't even spell smack correctly. What are we talking about? Pretty obvious. I love when people ask, what are we talking about? Like, if you didn't just sit here for 2 minutes, you wouldn't figure it out. Pay attention to me. You know what's crazy about religion is, like, how many things were you taught as a child, a very, very small child, and you still believe them as you were taught? These dumb Jays, I swear to God. There it is, here we go. Karen says it, here we go. Arrogant, ignorant stupidity. It's all they have. You would think, like, people who believe in this stuff would be like, oh my gosh, really, you think that way? Here, let me help you try to understand. You're wrong, and I want to save your soul. Let me help you understand. You'd think that's how it would work, but it doesn't. Like India Airline and 9/11. Okay. You know, it's just like I say. Think about like what other things were you? I wasn't raised religious. I became when I served at 18. Why? How? What was presented to you at 18 that made you go, oh, I'm going to just believe this one particular load of shit? Thank God for Trump, says a pedophile. We have a pedophile here, folks. Proud pedophile. American Roadrunner is a pedophile. I mean, the Hollow hoax was hilarious, but I'm pretty sure submarines are real, huh? The same people that tells you the Hollow hoax is real, same people that tell you to believe in submarines. Do with it what you will, I guess. Struggles, my man. Jail, prison. And okay, so there you go. So right off the bat, you're not going to say, well, because it's obviously true, I debunked every other religion and I was shown something that I just couldn't override. You know, I couldn't override it. It's obviously true. That's not what you say. You say, I was in a really bad place. And that's, you know, in any other situation, that's considered grooming. You know? If somebody targets people who are at their worst and is like, hey, let me give you a bunch of promises that won't come true. Let me promise you all kinds of crazy shit that doesn't even make sense. Just come on over. Come on. That's grooming. Belch. That's grooming. If it was real, they would want you at your best so that they could be like, all right, this is your best. You know, here, let me debunk it. And one day I just picked up the Bible, started reading, and I said the prayer in the back, and I read it, and things became better. That's insane. And that's the definition of the arrogance I'm talking about, right? So because you made better choices, and again, things became better. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But that means because you decided to read the Bible and start praying, God was like paying attention to you. Right? That made things better. Well, what about all the clergy that are raping children? Those kids have read the Bible. Those kids are praying to God that the rape stops. Why doesn't God help them? We live in a world now where preachers take the name of God in return for money. They always have. I don't know what you mean now. That's always been a thing. What's the church selling indulgences? There you go. That was it. Indulgences. Well, some practices in the Middle Ages led to perceptions of the church selling indulgences. The Catholic Church never improved or directly sold indulgences. Bullshit. I'm trying to find the actual indulgence. All right, let's see. Let's see what indulgence says on here. In the teaching of the Catholic Church, an indulgence is a way to reduce the amount of punishment one has to undergo for sins. The Catechism of the Catholic Church describes an indulgence as, quote, a remission before God of the temporal punishment due to sins whose guilt has already been forgiven, which the faithful Christian who is duly disposed gains under certain prescribed conditions. The recipient of an indulgence must perform an action to receive it. This is most often the saying once or many times of a specific prayer, but may also include a pilgrimage, the visiting of a particular place, such as a shrine, church, or cemetery, or performance of specific good works. By late middle indulgences were used to support charities for the public good, including hospitals. However, the abuse of indulgences for almsgiving, so that they became a method of money raising or ignored the requirements for contrition or charity had become a serious problem, which the church recognized but was unable to restrain effectively. See, the problem is, I just don't believe any of it anymore. When you give me this narrative of like, you know, the Middle Ages and all that, I just don't buy that shit. Nobody told me to worship. I chose to do it myself. Of course you were told to. You're an American. You're told to worship God all the time. But that's what I was saying about the arrogance. So you believe, again, that somehow, because you read this, because, like, it's always interesting to me how selfish everyone is, right? So, like, because of a perceived situation for you personally, you overlook the fact that the God that you supposedly worship, like, is literally watching the children from from this angle, closer, children getting raped. The Christian Palestinians that are being slaughtered, starved and slaughtered. Your God is watching that and not doing anything about it. And that's not enough for you to go, well, clearly there's no fucking God if it's going to allow this kind of shit to happen. You go, no. Look what happened to me. It's like my neighbor, right? My neighbor was dealing with some good morning. Was dealing with some personal shit and went through one of those where they like they give you some sort of thing, some sort of substance, and it's almost like you're tripping, but you know it pulls you into this dark place where you got to deal with all your shit, blah blah blah. She said she was in this really dark place, and she was screaming and crying, God, please help me, please Jesus help me, I'm really struggling with it, please, and there was no answer. And it fucked her head up. And to me, it's like, oh, so God let you down, so now it might not exist. But God not helping all those children, not helping the fucking, stop the genocide, not helping this, not helping that. That wasn't enough to make you not experience it? Have you ever died before? Have you ever had near-death experience? No. Thankfully. Earth is round. There you go. The earth is round. Is flat. Who gives a crap? It matters. It matters in the large scheme of things. But it's definitely not round. But it's just another one of these things that you just believe because you're told to. You can't actually back it up. You have no idea why you believe this shit. Go away, B. And of course, your ignorance and your arrogance comes through because you go, well, all those people out there that are questioning the earth shape, they're all just crazy. Like the biggest issue with these kinds of things is that, people love to get into conversations they're not prepared for. It's like you guys, we're at a UFC event, that commercial with Dustin Poirier, and that guy's like, hey, yeah, me and you should get in there. And he just laughs. Okay. You wouldn't get into a UFC fight with a UFC guy having no fucking training, would you? And yet, that's basically what you're doing here. You're getting into an argument with a fucking champion. You're getting into a fight with a champion, and you've never trained a day in your life. Or maybe you trained a little bit like 10, 15 years ago, and you think you still remember it, but that's enough for you. You have no idea what you're talking about. When it comes to the religious conversation, when it comes to the Bible, none of you know what the fuck it says. None of you can have a reasonable conversation about it. And it's all just ignorance. It really is. What are you talking about? A fight with a champion? I thought we were supposed to have a legitimate... Do you not understand what analogies are? Oh, hey, you know what? At least you guys are switching to the heroin narrative and not still with the crack, because the crack and meth one just doesn't make sense. What is the shape of the sun? What is the shape of the moon? Round, round, right? Because there are circles in the sky. There are lights. And you see lights, so that must mean it's what it is. Look at this shit. I have died legitimately, had a near-death experience, and I got sucked out of my body and my soul started to come up, and I legitimately seen heaven and hell. Yeah, right. So the way the brain works is when you go through traumatic experiences, it separates you. It separates your consciousness from your body so that you can, essentially, it's a survival tactic. It's a way to get through something. So you can, so you can survive. Because if you're, still connected and conscious, you're going to be freaking out. Causing yourself to do this and that. But you're an American. Or you're part of Western civilization. You've been told your whole life that when you die, you go through the tunnel and you see your fucking loved ones and, Why would you have even gone to heaven? And you wouldn't see, why would you see heaven and hell? What, you flew way up and then flew way down and you did you were just doing a tour of the afterlife? Is that what you think? Or is it maybe your brain just working on its own in a weird way that you don't understand? Gender is... I'm going to be pissed if gender is a construct pushed by the... Of course it is. It's all bullshit. This is what you just don't understand. What it means to be a man. You got to be a man. Meaning, if you're a man, if you never cry, if you have pictures in your garage of chicks in bikinis leaning up against old cars, belch. If you got to want to fight all the time. If you're disrespected, you got to fight. Think about all these things, what it means to be a man. And it's just fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid and impossible. It's not possible for you to, quote, be a man 100% of the time. Embrace Judaism. Fuck Judaism. We need to remove it. It needs to be eliminated. I understand what the analogies are, but you're saying you're an atheist, but you've read the whole Bible. No, I haven't read the whole Bible. Just like I don't need to hear every single story coming out of Palestine to understand that the Israelis are psychopaths. You can read lots of it. I've read lots of the Bible. Never read it cover to cover. It's difficult. It's too hard. It's such an awful, stupid story that reading it is like a task. It's like a punishment. And it was forever, Get in trouble, you got to go read verses of the Bible, this, that, and the other thing. Everyone is ignorant and stupid but himself, yet doesn't see the problem here. He's in his own personally made prison. Who are you even talking to? And why is it, this is what you'll see repeatedly in the comment section, that people will say these dumb, arrogant, blanket statements, but not actually address any specific thing that I'm getting wrong. And they just can't. This is stupid. The sun is white too, not yellow, not anymore. This guy still thinks submarines are fairy tales, and now God doesn't exist. Brother, it's nowhere to be found on the bell curve. God doesn't exist? Why would you believe God exists? like, this is such a funny thing. It's such a funny thing, and I wish I could be in front of all of you to see your dumb faces when this question is proposed to you and watch you try to reconcile your own ignorance. You know, why do you think God exists? What gives you that right? Because heaven and hell are on a divide. If you didn't read the Bible, obviously you're saying you didn't. You're saying you read the Bible, but you obviously didn't. Heaven and hell are on a divide. So now hell isn't below us and heaven isn't above us. Now it's there's just a divide there. Okay. Talk about why Muslims don't agree that Jesus was killed for criticizing Torah and Sharia. I couldn't give a shit about what Muslims believe. They're stupid too. Islam is fucking stupid. You understand that atheist means it's not just Christian, you arrogant Christians. Please tell me the submarines aren't real as part of the satire. Why? Like, it's so funny to me that people they claim to be such submarine enthusiasts. Dude, you have to believe in submarines. Please tell me you believe in submarines. Why do you believe in submarines? So many people that question space travel and point out the obvious stupidity and impossibility of it all. Yet you believe we can fly through the water? Like, it's amazing how stupid people are. Dude has meth in that. This is a big fucking brown joint. It's one thing to be an atheist in a free country. It's another thing to be so rude. Oh, right. I have to respect your delusions and your psychopathy. I have to be like, oh, well, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. There's a man up in the sky. There's a man who can dinkle-dink anything he wants, and yet the chosen people are still bombing the shit out of Christians. It's okay. Because we know you, dude. Okay, Jesus Christ God won't be judging you fine. I know because I'm an RN. I mean, it's always amazing to me that anyone that is in a hospital setting or any sort of healthcare like that would believe in the shit, because it's fucking stupid. You know, I'm sure as somebody that works in the hospital, you've seen entire families crying and pleading, praying that their family member pulls through, and they don't. And then there are people who that's not happening, and they do. Yes, there's something in a joint. Methamphetamines or fentanyl, I'm guessing. Methamphetamines or fentanyl. Not two completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But it's interesting how, because you don't have the ability to have the intelligent conversation or make intelligent responses to anything, this is what you try to do now. Okay. You hear what happened? He was moving. Who gives a fuck? Yes, dude, we should learn how to be a man from Moochie Stoner. Yeah. You like rage bait. Oh, I love when people say that shit. Rage bait. It's not my fault. He said something I didn't like, and I raged. He baited me to rage. I'm not in control of my own emotions or myself. This guy rage baited me. Oh. We are not the same. You know what else is stupid? How much drugs are on XD. Okay. But Jesus did save himself from the cross because he's still... Yeah? Jesus is still alive today. This is where they always start getting all kind of crazy, weird fantasy bullshit. And, Jesus is still... Zombie Jesus is still alive today and all this other shit. Like, it's so weird. Oh, we need to learn. Yeah, let's repeat it. I leeches off the older women in his family. Can you give me some examples of that? Why do you have the sniffles? Yeah, because you never ever blow your nose. There couldn't be allergens in the air, particulates in the air. Couldn't be anything like, it's because I'm snorting cocaines. This is so silly. He won't let anybody into the live stream, though they have a conversation with him. He's one of those people that just wants to talk and doesn't want to have a legitimate conversation. Who are you talking to? What are you crying about? I'd love to let somebody into the conversation if you actually made reasonable points. Why would I ever bring somebody into the conversation that's just going to say dumb shit like that? Yeah, well, you do. All you got to do is make legitimate points. Seriously, your personality doesn't matter. Okay? Yes, we're the dumb, arrogant, gay Jews when we say anything you don't like. I mean, sure? Okay. It's like trying to do a complete works of Shakespeare back to back. Not as good, right? But basically written by the same people. Well, here we go. Free will. Free will did it. Free will, the ultimate power in the universe. Free will can override God's plan. Or, well, it's just so stupid. Because I can. It's my right. It's my right to, T-O-O, just like it's your right to not believe them. So stupid. I'm an unrepentant pagan. You know who's not nailed to a board? Herein, Lady Morgan. And yeah, I don't know what all that is. Who can be proud for not believing in something? Yeah, I don't believe children should be raped, and I'm proud of that. Are you? You're not proud of that? I don't believe genocide should happen to people. You're not proud of that? You think that should keep going? He doesn't believe in religion. Big deal. Why are y'all forcing your religion onto him? Because it's not about forcing the religion onto me. It's about trying to maintain their religious beliefs. It's 2025. None of these people actually believe in the shit. And to see somebody like me coming out and making points that they can't refute and just the common sense aspect of it. What they're trying to do is make themselves feel better. It's soothing, it's coping. Making themselves feel better because they know they're foolish. They're stupid, they're being duped. And if you have actually read the Bible, you would know that. You would know that the Bible isn't for you. The Bible is a Jewish book. All of the characters in the Bible are Jewish. They talk about the Gentiles as a separate group, like those Gentiles over there, but the Bible is a Jewish fairy tale. And they hate you. Here in the South, we have the first ever submarine in Charleston. No, you don't. No, you don't. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, people, they get into the conversation without the proper training. Without, they're getting into a firefight without any sort of weaponry. They're like the Palestinians fighting the Israelis. And unfortunately, I'm the Israelis in this. But I'm just crushing them, and they don't have the proper knowledge. The first submarine, and you know how like it's bullshit, is because it's if you knew the narrative, it would destroy what you believe. The first successful submarine was invented by one of the greatest men in history, of which you've never even heard of. His name is Cornelius Drebbel. And he invented the first submarine in 1620. It held 16 passengers. It could travel hundreds of meters underwater at 12 to 14 feet deep and could stay underwater for long periods of time. Cornelius Drebbel is like, I love this joke, but he makes Ben Franklin look like Ben Dover. Cornelius Drebbel invented the microscope, the telescope, the magic lantern, the camera obscura, the submarine, air conditioning, built fountains, built moving statues. And most importantly, this is the only guy I've ever heard of who, according to the official historical narrative that we're given, he was said to be able to make it thunder and lightning on command. You guys ever heard of this man that could make it thunder and lightning on command? Don't you think you would have? It's basically the way most women approach things unless they are level-headed and basically conservative, which leads me to believe that his father may not have been present in the family. Isn't it funny how instead of addressing the things that are being said, you're like fantasizing that you know anything about my own, you have to you keep trying to turn it about me. You guys keep wanting to talk about me, and I want to talk about the big picture. But because you don't know the big picture, you have to do something. You're arrogant. You have to say something. So you just start saying stupidity. Yeah. I mean, do you guys understand that Judaism Exodus is existential to Judaism. Is essential to Judaism, sorry. The story of Exodus, like Judaism doesn't exist without the story of Exodus, right? But the story of Exodus is just impossibly stupid. Like it's insultingly impossibly stupid. And I guess if they get you to believe in that, if they can make you believe that, then they know they have you, because you'll believe anything. If you'll believe Exodus, you'll believe anything. Exodus is it's so unbelievably stupid. It's such an unbelievably stupid narrative. How many of you just go, yeah, 2 million people wandered the desert for 40 years? Fuck yeah. Because that's possible, right? There's a reason God maintains hidden. It's because his glory would command worship of you. Therefore, in order to maintain your free will, he remains concealed. Where do you even get this shit from? The thing about God remaining hidden, as if you don't pay attention to it, it'll go away. Sure. Jesus is the big picture. Yeah, really? Like, it's so funny, again, so many of these idiots are white. It's just white kids. White people. Entitled, arrogant, white people. Who, the hardest thing they had to deal with was the death of a relative, or, they got hurt one time and they almost died or whatever. They have no idea what it's like to be, raped by clergy. Can you imagine what that's like? Seriously. Can you imagine how mentally fucked up it is for the children who believe in God to be being raped by the clergy who is the representation of God? The clergy are supposed to be better than. And do you honestly think these children being raped by clergy aren't praying in the, please God, help me. Do you really think that's not what's happening? Do you really think all those Christians in Palestine right now who are living in a tent because Israel has bombed everything, all of their houses and everything, and these people were lucky enough to survive the initial bombings, so now they're living in a tent, and by living I mean waiting to die, starving. The children are starving. They're so malnourished and like it's just horrendous. It's horrendous. And yet, do you think those people aren't just sitting there? They can't even move because they're so weak from not eating. Bombs are exploding all around them. They're Christian, and they're not praying to the same God you're talking about, and wondering why that God won't do anything. A cherry picks comments and is not going to have a real discussion that is specific about anything, whether it's Trump, religion. Yeah, that's what it is. It's not the fact that you don't say anything intelligent. You pedophile Trump supporters. You need to be in a mental hospital, says some old dusty fuck. He's not going to have a discussion about who do you keep talking to? Who are you hoping strokes you off because you know you're saying dumb shit, so you want one of your colleagues to, come on, yeah, that was a good one. That was good. Okay, you got him there. Yes, you aren't the first person to discover human suffering. What kind of dumb, like, I keep saying, like, what kind of dumb, but when you don't, it's like if you were sitting here trying to argue the legitimacy of Santa Claus, you would just end up saying nothing but stupid shit. You know, you wouldn't be able to make reasonable, intelligent arguments because you literally can't. And that's what you'll see here over and over again. Get off the live feed. Get off the live and go feed some kids then. Preaching isn't solving anything. Spend less on your drugs and donate some food drives. Right. Isn't it amazing how so many people seem to want me to stop doing this thing that apparently doesn't matter so much that they watch it for hours on end, day after day, constantly begging for my attention? Isn't that strange how that just happens to work out that way? You're white, buddy. I love that. Again, this is how you know people are racist, right? This dumbass is sort of insinuating that because I'm white, I shouldn't say anything about white people. Do you not see how stupid these people are? This dumbass will tell you he's not racist. Well, I'm not racist, but... Well, I'm not racist, but... I'm not racist, but... He'll tell you that, but when it comes down to it, he'll say stupid shit that proves the point. Keep going back to the problems of the church, in particular the Catholic Church. Most Christians will agree with you that the church is a mess, but God is good. Right, how stupid is that? How arrogant is that? The only reason you believe in God is because of the church. You don't believe in God because you just stumbled across it one day. You were like, walking down the street like, holy shit, there's a man up in heaven, and he came down and impregnated a virgin, Jesus, which the Jews killed on the cross, and, you would never, ever come up with that bullshit. It's so arrogantly stupid. The first thing he goes to is religion, etc. But why not have the discussion apart from religion? Why not have the discussion about religion? Like, again, it's so funny how these people are trying to, please stop talking about this. You're making too many good points. I can't debunk what you're saying. And I want to believe in heaven. I'm an arrogant piece of shit. I want to believe it. This is honestly why we have our A-R-E own condos going on. What does that even mean? He's not going to have a discussion about Trump or politics. Look at how stupid this is. You could say anything. You could say your point, but you don't. Instead, you just keep saying these dumb things. If anyone supports Trump, don't waste your time. Yeah, but we have to. We have to acknowledge the fact that these pedophiles are everywhere. And I don't think people realize, like, it's pedophiles. Guy is the type of person who has the victim mentality. Anyone who questions him as a CPJ, gay voice, are just dumb. So that makes me the victim. Aren't you victimizing yourself right here? You're saying I'm victimizing you, right? It's not that you're not saying anything intelligent. It's not that you keep repeating the same dumb shit. It's that I'm being mean to you. And it's funny, too, how you guys are the ones that keep making it about me. I'm the one talking about the big picture. You haven't heard me mention how I'm a victim of anything. The only way I'm a victim is by society that insists on pushing this stupidity. Oh, here we have God King, because that's not arrogant. Perfect Wednesday morning for this. Pacing around like a crackhead, yelling about kids getting touched. And you have an issue with that. Right? I love how people act like I'm forcing them to be here. That victim mentality. YouTube forces them to be here. He does it like this person just keeps saying the same dumb. He does this and he does that and he does this and he does that and he does this and he does that. Some old dusty fuck. Dusty balls. Look at this shit. Eyewitness lies written by pedophiles like Kang Joe's James, a known pedophile. All right, somebody's saying there's eyewitnesses. You're begging for attention on YouTube, yup. I'm begging for attention on YouTube. By going live, I'm begging for attention. You know? Going live talking about, you know, how we should kill pedophiles and override the J supremacy. And then you have an issue with that. You know, notice how nobody here, oh, look, he says, I am 100% racist. I appreciate that. At least somebody's being honest. Yup, Democrat. Yup, I'm a Democrat. Uh-oh. Comments get shut off? I think the comments got shut off. Oh, gotta love it. So as always, all of a sudden the comments just get shut off. From my perspective, I can't see what the stupid people are saying. How convenient is that? You know, the fact is you guys have all these opportunities to actually address or debunk what I'm saying, and you don't. You just keep feeding me, you know? You just keep giving me ammunition after ammunition after ammunition with every dumb fucking comment you guys make. To the point where the system goes, we gotta stop this. It's nobody's coming in here and saying anything intelligent. You know, I've been begging forever. You know, I'm sure a majority of you know a preacher, pastor, rabbi, you know, some sort of clergy, some sort of religious person. Why don't you have them come in here and set me straight? How come not a single religious person has ever, like, you know, no reverends, no pastor, no rap, none of that. They never come in here and be like, hey, we heard about you were struggling and you had some questions and, you know, you kept saying that there wasn't anyone qualified to answer your shit because nobody knows anything. Well, I'm here. I know. Let's have the discussion. Never happens. Why? Unfortunately, again, my feed has been shut down. So I'm going to do the big boy thing, and I'm going to end the feed with 50 fucking viewers on it just so I can hear more of your bullshit. Go to the comment section or go to the description, people. If you got to leave, you got other things to do. I hope you do. If you got other things to do, go to the description, get the free download, blah, 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 www.the-bilderberg-group.com. Go watch Hollywoodism. Go read Bottom of Darkness. Go check out the Facebook videos, blah, blah, blah. All the links will be in the description. But I'm just going to come right back live. So, because I'm so worried about the things that you guys are saying, because you're besting me, you're debunking me, you're hurting me so bad with your comments. I want more. I want to be able to see you when I can't see you. So I'm going to end a feed that has 60 viewers on it and 13 likes just so I can hear from you. Right? Because I'm so insecure. I'm so worried. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. So I'll be right back. Come right back and join me on the next feed. Don't forget to like, share, and sub this feed. So because what's going to happen is, unfortunately, what's going to happen is I'm going to leave. And when I come back, a lot of you that will try to come back to this feed won't be able to find it. You could search my name. You can, even if you like, share, and sub to this feed, you won't be able to find it. You're going to have to click on the live thing. It'll say it'll show the picture and it'll say with the red line around it and it says live. You'll have to click on that. Because there's nothing funny going on here. There's no interference. There's no censorship. It's just the way it works for me. So do your best to come back. Hopefully you'll have something to say. Most importantly, pedophiles, kill yourself.